Well, this is a thick Cuban cigar. There are thinner cigars, but thin or fat Cuban cigars, all of them have to have 5 different leaves inside. So imagine it's easier to put 5 leaves into a thick cigar than it is into a very thin cigar. So sometimes the thin Cuban cigars, like the Lanceros number 2, Cohiba Lanceros, are hard to draw. It's hard for air to pass because they're very thin and they need to have all those leaves inside. But the master cigar rollers make make it possible for you to smoke and enjoy even the thinnest of cigars because they have the practice, they have the knowledge to roll the leaves so that they draw. Now, the 5 leaves that go into any Cuban cigar actually come from different places in the cigar plant, the cigar tree, the tobacco tree. A tobacco plant, in a tobacco plant, which in Cuba grows, some of them grow tall, the shortest grow like this, but the regular cigar tobacco plants in Cuba, the lower leaves provide a characteristic in the cigar. The middle leaves provide another characteristic, and the upper leaves provide different. The lower leaves provide burnability, combustibilidad, the combustibility, the burning capacity of the cigar. The lower are there in the lower leaves. The middle leaves provide strength in the cigar, and the upper leaves provide flavor, aroma. So the blending of these 3 leaves inside a cigar make one cigar different from the other. So one burns more, the other one is more aromatic, or the other one is stronger, depending on how the leaves are blended. Those are the secrets of the master cigar blenders that they do not reveal. So the Partagas have their own cigar master, and the rollers do not know the blend. The rollers get the leaves already provided for them, but the blender, the cigar masters, they know how much of the burning leaves need to be put in for this type of cigar, and how much of the aroma leaves, and how much of the strength leaves. So you have these 3 main leaves inside. But in addition to those 3 main leaves, you need an inner wrapping for the cigar, because before the cigar takes the actual shape that you see, the actual outer leaf, there's an inner wrapping. So when they roll a cigar, which is done by hand, they roll it inside the inner wrap, and they put it on a press to give it the shape. Because imagine putting leaves into something like this and coming this perfect. It needs some help. So the help is from a press. So they put all these 3 leaves plus the inner wrap inside a press for like 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. So if you're rolling your cigars, you have wooden pieces that are a press. And you put your cigars in there and you press them tight, one piece against the other for like 25 minutes. Then you take it out. And of course, the press is, depending on the type of cigar, there's the shape of the press. So you take it out of the press, and then you proceed to putting the outer wrap, which gives the cigar the visual, which is important. You like it by the color, by the smoothness of the leaf. So after you take it out of the press, you put the outer wrap, la capa. They call it capa, which is the outer wrap, which is the finest leaf. And the capas, the outer wraps, are only harvested in certain places, in Pinar del Rio and other places, where they plant for wraps. So they don't do fillers, they do wraps. They're pretty special leaves that provide the cigars with their looks. So you have all these 5 leaves inside a cigar. So they roll them together. So when you smoke a Cuban cigar, you have all these 5 leaves in there. And well, I mentioned justifications for those are probably psychological justifications for smoking a cigar because we all know it may kill you. It's not exactly healthy. Although there's very little there are no chemicals, no you don't put anything. It's just leaves. And by the way, these leaves were harvested 3, 4, 5 years ago. So we're smoking leaves that were harvested not yesterday but 5 years ago. But there are no chemicals here. But the history for me, smoking a cigar has the element of history in it. Cigars were part of Cuba's independence struggle. Cuban fighters for independence against Spain. Of course, they used to smoke cigars. Unfortunately, Antonio Maceo never smoked cigars. Neither Jose Marti. But anyway.
They still died early.
So, but the order to begin Cuba's independence war of 1895 came from Key West to Havana inside a cigar. Someone was bringing a cigar in a pocket with the order after they if you break the cigar inside was an order that the war is beginning on the 24th of February, which was the actual date of the war. El 24 se rompe el corozo. That order came inside a cigar from Key West to Havana, because a lot of the Cuban independence movement also sought support in the U.S. because a lot of the cigar factories from Cuba, because of the war itself, moved to Tampa and Key West, Ybor City, and other places, and the independence fighters were always there looking for support, financial and otherwise. So inside a cigar came the order that the war was beginning on the 24th of February. So when I smoke a Cuban cigar, I feel patriotic. Then, cigars in Cuba, the women smoke cigars, are a man's attribute in many ways. So I tend to think that it reinforces my masculinity. That doesn't need to be like that, but it's psychological, so and then when you touch a cigar, it's like if you close your eyes, it's like you're touching the skin of someone. It's very sensitive. So actually, there's some myth in Cuba. The saying goes that cigars in Cuba are rolled on the laps of Cuban women who work in the factory.
No, you told me first.
Yeah, but it's not exactly like that. Honestly, when you visit a factory, if you visit a cigar factory in Cuba, you realize that yes, Cuban women put the leaves on their lap, on their bare skin like this, and smooth them like this. But they don't roll the cigar on their laps.
Is that why the guys roll them off?
Going down that rabbit hole, man.
Those are basically my justifications for the lighting of my cigar, which, with your permission, I'm going to. Oh, and by the way, lighting a cigar is part of the ritual of smoking a cigar. You don't light it lightly like you light a cigarette. You take time in lighting your cigar. So before you light it, you don't close your eyes or think of not anybody's skin, but you do smooth it, you do touch it, you do feel it, and then you give it light. So some people light it all the way. You usually give it light here, a little before you put it on your lips. I give it some light.
You said her.
Then before it's actually lit, once I see it's starting to burn, I put it on my lips, and then you roll it on your lips, roll it around, like this.
Get out of the way, Dwayne. Get out of the way.
Perfect.
Now, after you light it, to make sure that it's properly lit, you blow on it, and you should see it all red. So, if you see any black unburned spot not burning, you give it more fire. You should provide, like I said, enough fire to a cigar, so it burns well. And then once you burn it, guys, it's like women. You don't leave it unattended because they go up. So you simply take care of your cigar.